AT&T Park in San Francisco, the New York Mets play the San Francisco Giants. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Land Rover, above and beyond. By Delta Dugout. Sign up today at Mets.com/Delta Dugout. And by Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. Mets will be sailing out of town after they finish up their series today in San Francisco. Enjoyed the sights of Northern California. Now it's time to head back to New York, hoping to seal the series before they go. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to San Francisco. Gary Cohen with you. Ron Darling joins me in just a moment as the Mets play the rubber game of their three-game series against the defending world champion Giants. The Mets got here on Monday night, having won 2 of 3 in Los Angeles. John Neese, who had been enjoying a lot of success but not a lot of victories, took the mound and pitched as well as he has all year, but he was opposed by Chris Heston, who had pitched a no-hitter against the Mets a month prior in New York. Scoreless game into the ninth. Kurt Neuenhuiser just rejoined the team on Monday, had a big hit, and then Johnny Manel, the former Giant farmhand, drove in a pair. The Mets scored 3 in the ninth to support Neese. J. Reese Familia finished it up for the 23rd save of his season, and the Mets had a 3-0 victory. Last night, Hunter Pence made his return to the lineup for the Giants after a month away and had an immediate impact. A fielder's choice grounder brought in the first Giant run. A broken bat single brought home another. But the pièce de résistance for Mr. Pence was this play. The diving catch in foul territory. The perfect throw to get Curtis Granderson at home plate. Granderson had tripled, but Pence guns him down, kept the Mets off the board. And all that was left was for the Giants to back up Matt Cain's 2-hit pitching over 6 innings with some fine relief pitching. Santiago Casilla getting the double play grounder to end matters. And after the Mets had won 3-0 on Monday, it was the Giants who claimed a 3-0 victory last night. Runs have been hard to come by in this series. The Giants snapped a 7-game losing streak with that win, and the Mets are trying to clinch a winning road trip with a win today.
Well, that's why I think both managers are going to go into this game like it's Game 7 of a postseason series. You know Bochy is awfully good at that. I see Terry Collins doing a lot of that today, a lot of matchups. I wouldn't be surprised if Familia works more than an inning today.
Buster Posey is going to miss this game, second straight for the Giants. He's got a tight hamstring. That makes the task a tad bit easier for Jacob deGrom, trying to bounce back from a so-so start his last time out.
So-so start, but he's done better in every single category right down the line. His ERA is better. When you think about his strikeouts to walks, he's lowered his walks below 2, so that's almost a 7-to-1 ratio. He's been outstanding.
His first start since being named to the All-Star team earlier this week. On the other side, Jake Peavy, who missed 2 months with a back injury, makes his second start coming off the DL.
Well, you know, since he left San Diego, things have not been great for Peavy, but he's been on 2 World Series champion teams, the Red Sox and the Giants. He's got some old injuries now, but his last start, everyone that saw him say he pitched like the old Jake Peavy.
Well, the last time these two Jakes matched up, they both carried no-hitters into the 7th inning. What'll happen tonight by the shores of the Golden Gate? It's the Mets and the Giants. All the action coming your way on SNY. The official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. Get to Citi Field this Friday when the Mets take on the Diamondbacks at 7:10. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets emoji t-shirt and a gift card courtesy of Dunkin' Donuts. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Free Shirt Fridays. The road ahead is presented by Buick. The road takes the Mets back home for 3 games with the Diamondbacks over the weekend, and then those 4 big blanks. That would be your All-Star break. All-Star game Tuesday in Cincinnati for Jacob deGrom. Anybody else? We're not sure. Mets are in St. Louis and Washington after the break. Mets and Giants wrapping up their series. First pitch is coming right up. Last night, this is Jake Peavy's second start after 2 months plus on the disabled list. And here is the Mets starting lineup brought to you by Geico that will face Peavy. Eric Campbell gets a start in left field. Michael Kadyr's knee is still painful enough that he is out of the lineup today, although available to pinch hit. Kevin Plawecki had a pair of doubles last night, back in there behind the plate. And there is the 34-year-old Mr. Peavy.
Well, when you look at his Toyota numbers there, only 3 starts. When you think of Peavy, you always think of his days in San Diego when he was 92 and 68. Won a Cy Young in 2007. Been a 500 pitcher since, but was on both championship teams, the Red Sox in 2013, of course last year with the Giants. Defensively behind Mr. Peavy today, presented by Coors Light. Maxwell gets a start. Blanco and Pence. Pagan sits day game after night game. Duffy, Crawford, Panik, and Belt. That's those young infielders, young stars. Andrew Susac playing again. Tight hamstring for Buster Posey.
Well, that certainly diminishes the Giants lineup. Posey sitting out for the 2nd straight game. Curtis Granderson will lead things off for New York. Curtis 1 for 7 in the series, had a long triple last night. That's the closest thing the Mets have had to a home run in their last 9 games. That is to say, they have not had a home run in their last 9 games. First pitch of the day from Peavy is a fastball taken outside for ball 1, and we're underway.
1-2. Brandon Crawford was at his normal position, changed positions right at the last second.
think that was designed to cause confusion on Granderson's part, or you think he just forgot until late?
I think he forgot until late. Someone yelled at him and he moved over.
Well, we've seen a lot of different shifts and non-shifts against Granderson this year. Fastball strike to Curtis, and it's 2-1.
Brandon Belt close to the line. Panic out in the outfield. Crawford up the middle, and just remaining kind of in his position, Matt Duffy, the third baseman.
Respecting the bunt from Granderson. Peavy misses up and in, and it's 3-1. Peavy's first start back from the disabled list was very successful, one in Washington. There's Ruben Tejada on deck. He went 6 1/3, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits, took a loss 2-1, but a very encouraging start for Peavy. Granderson gets under one to right field, back in Triples Alley. Plenty of room out there for Pence. Nearly 400 feet, but just a long out, the first of the day. Granderson caught one back in that alley even deeper in last night's game against Brandon Crawford, back on the warning track in front of that 421 sign. Here's Ruben Tejada, 1 for 6 in this series. Mets had just 4 hits last night after rallying for 3 runs in the 9th inning Monday night. So the Mets have scored in only 1 inning in this series. It's been kind of a trend. 17 of the last 20 games, the Mets have scored 3 runs or fewer. And Peavy gets a slider in for a strike, 0-1. Daniel Murphy waits on deck. Ball and a strike to Tejada. Peavy made 2 starts before he went on the disabled list. He had been hurt before that. He had been suffering since the 1st of April, but he talked his way into the rotation for a couple of starts before they finally shut him down. And he spent nearly 2.5 months on the DL. A hip impingement, a back problem. Seems to be a little freer and easier now since he's come back.
Those are older pitcher injuries, certainly, from all the wear and tear. In the last 2 seasons, Gary, Peavy's become really a hired gun. First in Boston in 13, and in here with the Giants last year. His last 9 starts, ERA 1.35, as he was reunited with his old manager Bruce Bochy.
Well, that was really the remarkable thing about Peavy last year, as he goes up and in and gets Tejada for the second inning. I mean, he was lost in Boston last year, coming off the World Series the year before. He made 20 starts for the Red Sox, 1-9, 4.72. Came to the Giants and it was like a switch went off. And it was really the start against the Mets, where he and DeGrom hooked up in early August, that got his season jump-started.
Well, he's a guy that always has relied more on movement than the speed of the pitch, although he's thrown up to 95 in his heyday. But you can see the good sinking action. Great slider, works both sides of the plate. Could not wear 44 when he came here because of McCovey. Decided to go with 43. Didn't like it because he lost his start.
Murphy out to right center, and Pence is there.
And now is settled on 22, the number he wore as a kid in Mobile, Alabama.
It's half of 44. Jacob DeGrom takes the mound when we come back. second straight day, tight right hamstring. No Angel Pagan. He's got a wonky knee. And so there is the unit that Bruce Bochy sends out against Jacob deGrom, who beat the Giants last summer.
Well, there's Jeep numbers for some symmetry. We talked about Peavy's numbers, his last 9 starts. Last season, deGrom, his last 9 starts. This season, his ERA 1.55.
Gregor Blanco leads off, had 3 hits last night. Blanco hitting a .314 for the year, and he takes the pitch high for ball 1. Blanco, Panic, and Duffy against deGrom. There are 4 players in the Giants lineup who faced deGrom last year. And Blanco pops it up. Easy for Tejada on the outfield rim. 1 out.
Well, defensively behind deGrom this afternoon for the New York Mets. Here at AT&T Park, presented by Lexus. Eric Campbell gets the start. Lagares and Granderson. Kadire has missed 6 of the last 8 games. Murphy, Tejada, Flores, and Duda, with Plawecki swinging a hotter bat behind the plate.
Here's Joe Panic. 2 hits last night. The Hopewell Junction product, hitting .306, 8th in the National League, preparing to go to his first All-Star game, as is the man he's facing, Jacob deGrom.
11 for 22 against the Metropolitans this year.
It's that hometown thing. Panic is 4th in the National League in hits. He's got 95 hits already this year.
Andy Fletcher, home plate umpire, is not giving the low strike. Not good for Peavy or deGrom.
Panic hits one toward the line. Over goes Campbell, and he gets there for the 2nd out. A little bit of fog in the air today here in San Francisco. Usually fog is burned off by this hour, but it's a little hazy out there.
Yeah, it is.
You see some of the moisture from that fog getting on the camera lens. Usually by now the sun has come out.
Yeah, always after 12 o'clock or so it starts to get real beautiful here, but maybe not today, although I see some sun south of here.
2 out and nobody on now. Matt Duffy 1 for 7 in this series, and Rom misses outside with a slider. Duffy, now the everyday third baseman for the Giants, has settled into that 3-hole in the batting order, and he takes a strike, 1-1. Well, deGrom trying to bounce back from a subpar start his last time out against the Cubs. He had gone on a stretch where 7 straight starts he was just magnificent. Grounded out to Tejada, and so deGrom has himself an easy time of it in the first. An 8-pitch bottom of the first. No score. fan, and you might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Wilmer Flores leads off the second against Jake Peavy and pops one foul and out of play. Flores, who had a very strong series in Los Angeles, 10 hits in 3 games, just 1 for 7 in this series. Mets need somebody to get hot and stay hot.
The issue for this team, though, Gary, I don't think they have one of those players. Maybe Lucas, when he's going at his best, that can carry this ball club. I think that it's not one guy. They need 3 or 4 guys to be more than median.
Well, with the Mets shutout loss last night and the Phillies scoring 7 runs in Los Angeles, the Mets are now the lowest scoring team in the National League this season. They have overlapped the Phillies for that bottom spot. Here's Lucas, 0 for 5 in this series, 9 hits in his last 70 at bats. That covers a 19-game span where he's hitting 129. And he takes a fastball from Peavy for a strike. And there aren't a lot of obvious answers. I mean, this team's been shut out 3 times in the last 8 games, 10 times now in their last 61 games. I mean, it all goes back to the early part of the year where they lost Wright and d'Arnaud, and d'Arnaud came back for 8 games and went right back on the disabled list. And really from that point on, this team has had a major difficulty day in and day out putting up enough runs to support their fine pitching.
Put that in perspective. In 2014, they were shut out 12 times the entire season. 13 only 8 times the entire season. 10 already.
Peavy ahead on Duda 0-2. Lucas has a home run in his career and 5 at bats against Peavy, who is 6-3 lifetime against the Mets. We've referenced it a couple of times, the game where DeGrom and Peavy hooked up last year at Citi Field, where both were perfect through 4, both had no hitters through 6. In fact, Peavy was perfect for 6 1/3 before Daniel Murphy broke it up with a double. DeGrom's no-hit bid ended with a double by Pablo Sandoval in the 7th inning, but it was a spectacular pitcher's duel until the Mets got 4 runs off Peavy in the 7th and ended up winning the game. Duda tries to lay off, but he went around, strike 3. Doug Eddings with the call down at 3rd, and that's the 2nd strikeout for Peavy. Well, this was last year on August the 2nd.
Well, Peavy, like we talked about before, his last 9 starts, 1.35 ERA. That's as sharp as I've seen him have a slider in a long time. And DeGrom was throwing as hard as he's thrown all season. Here's the Murphy hit over the head of Morse, the left fielder, who doesn't cover a lot of ground.
Well, those were the numbers for the game, but it's the first time I've ever seen it where 2 pitchers carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning, side by side. And DeGrom ended up on the winning end of that one. Well, so far Peavy's retired the first 5. Kevin Plawecki 2 doubles last night, and he gets it by the pitch, and the Mets have the first base runner of the game.
Got him right, I think, on the right elbow. Could be wrong, but that's what I thought I saw. Let's check it out. Watch the right elbow come in. No, more in the wrist. Sorry, forearm.
I'm surprised Plawecki doesn't get hit more as close as he stands to the plate.
Well, today's hitter is taught to throw his hands at the baseball and keep that barrel locked behind him and then get it through the zone quickly. So their hands are in the strike zone for a long period of time or just off the plate. 3rd time Plawecki's been hit this season. Now Eric Campbell getting a start in left field, as he did in DeGrom's last start against the Cubs last Thursday. The only 2 games Eric started in the outfield this year. It has been a really tough slog for Campbell, who had that 0 for 28 stretch at one point. Keeps getting a shot, though, right? The Dyers has not started in 6 of the last 8 games because of a bulky knee. He said that when he goes in the outfield, he's playing every day. 5th or 6th inning, it starts to hurt a little, swells up by the 9th.
Well, remember in the game that Dyer started on Monday night, he went 1st to 3rd on a double in the 9th inning by Neuenhuis, and came out of the game in the bottom of that inning. They didn't play last night.
Well, just like the Giants, Gary, are trying to do with Posey. They get him last night off, tonight off. They have a day off tomorrow. That gives them a real chance to recover. Well, they're trying to do the same with Kadire.
Yeah, and the Mets are planning to have Kadire see the doctor in New York. Remember, he had a cortisone shot in that knee less than a week ago. You would have thought that would have alleviated some of the discomfort, but it's still there. And Peavy pours one over. 1-2 to Campbell.
36-year-old legs. That's what happens when you have to play him every day.
Well, it's like you were talking about with Peavy. When you get further along in your career, you have injuries that do not heal as quickly. Plawecki at first and 2 down. 1-2 to Campbell. And Eric takes a slider out of the zone. 2-2.
He's one of those guys. He just screams and yells at himself during the game. He's a whirling dervish. Said to himself there, make that pitch one time.
He's always been like that. And it doesn't seem to work against him. Just missed with that. And he hesitates a beat, looking into Andy Fletcher, wondering where the pitch was.
Fletcher has a tight zone. Why you would come into a baseball game with 2 elite pitchers pitching and want to have a tight zone is beyond me. Get on the train, bro.
Plawecki will be running. 3-2 and 2 down.
Remember, Chris Heston in the first game threw the ball past first. Peavy stepped off, made sure Belt was behind him. So it's a veteran move.
Three-2 to Campbell, and he lifts one to right field. Pence with plenty of room, and that retires the side. We go to the bottom of the second. No score. And player profiles, Mets blog presented by Citi, part of the SNY.TV blog network.
Murph's getting some sunglasses, Gary, is the sun trying to peek over the stadium, and he wants to be prepared. Good move.
Going to bring Ruben Tejada set as well.
Oh, caddy. Very nice. Murph might be seeing things as far as that shot's concerned.
You can usually predict the weather by the clock here in San Francisco, right? You get the clouds in the morning, or marine layer. If you don't like to use the word clouds, which they don't like here in California. There's Hunter Pence leading off the home second, and then mid-afternoon the wind kicks up. It was always the mantra at Candlestick Park. They'd start games at noon because at 2:30 it started getting windy. It was a good curveball by DeGrom to get ahead on Pence 0-2. Well, Pence last night looked very rusty in his first couple of at-bats, and then it kicked in for him. Had a couple of RBIs and a great defensive play, and he hits one right over the bag and down the line. And Pence steams into second base with a leadoff double.
Yesterday, Cologne made him look bad on balls away. His body is falling into his own dugout, and somehow, some way, he's still able to hit that ball to the right side and then hustle it into a double. It's amazing when you just have passion, love for the game, play it right, that good things come your way, and that's what happens with Pence.
He can look so bad and still make good things happen. It's remarkable.
It's unique, and it's in some ways beautiful, although not beautiful to watch.
So, first hit of the game for either side, so we will not have a double no-hit bid going deep into this battle of the Jakes. Here's Brandon Crawford, and he takes a fastball for a strike.
See Murph's going through Ray-Bans. No, there we go. Goggles.
Stole them from the bullpen catcher.
Bullpen catcher was sizing those up for eBay.
Crawford 0 for 3 last night, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. He's heading to his first All-Star game. And DeGrom gets ahead of him 0-2.
Even though he's gone through a bad stretch, Crawford is just a totally different hitter than you saw the last few seasons, where he would grind on that bat. Knuckles were white. Just totally relaxed and confident in his offensive game now, that's starting to match his defensive game.
At age 28, really blossoming.
People always talk about, Gary, how hard it is to hit and be a catcher. Never talk about how hard it is to hit and be a shortstop. Shortstop is a tough position to play. You just have so many responsibilities. Kind of the captain of the infield.
Well, we've seen it a lot over the years, right? Guys who came up as defensive shortstops and their offense kicked in later in their career. First guy I think of is Ozzie Smith. And Crawford went around on the curveball in the dirt, and DeGrom has his first strikeout of the day. 1 out in the inning.
Awfully nice pitching by DeGrom. The seldom used curveball he uses to get the strikeout on Crawford in a situation where he needed one.
And a good block by Plawecki to make sure Pence couldn't go to third.
Omar Vizquel.
Right. Now Brandon Belt, 1 for 6 in this series, hitting just 200 over his last 23 games after a fast start to his year. Giants, like the Mets, have been slumping, looking for offense. They've lost 7 of their last 8. Part of that's on their bullpen as well, but it has not been an easy stretch for Bruce Bochy's team. They find themselves with the identical record of the Mets, 1 game over 500. Changeup from DeGrom misses, 2-0. Fastball by DeGrom, 2-1.
Belt is such a big person that you just figure he's going to be more of a home run hitter, but really is a line drive hitter.
Of course, he had a home run to remember in the postseason last year in the 18th inning against the Nationals. And again, that upstairs fastball beats him 2-2.
Only Giants to do that in extra innings in the post. Dusty Rhodes and Mel Ott. That's a couple nice names to join.
You ever see the film of Dusty Rhodes' home runs in the 54 series?
I have not.
They each went about 260 feet at the Polo Grounds. emergency hack by Belt, and he fouls it off. You know, it was like 250 down one line, 257 down the other, and then it was almost 500 feet to center field at the Polo Grounds. And Rhodes took advantage of the dimensions and hit it the front row about 260 feet away.
Still counts, like it, right?
That's exactly right. But he became a folk hero for his World Series exploits. Giants swept the Indians in the series that year in '54. Swing and a miss, and DeGrom with back-to-back strikeouts. He just blew Belt away with high heat.
What was interesting against Belt is they wanted to stay up. So Belt has the kind of swing, a slight uppercut, that if you stay up above the belt, you're going to have success.
And DeGrom wound up above the belt.
That's easy to remember.
2 out. Penn still at second after his leadoff double, and now Andrew Susac starting behind the plate for the second straight day with Posey sitting out. Susac 1 for 4 in the series. He foul tips the fastball, 0-1. The Giants are saying that Posey's hamstring injury is not serious at all. It's just a little tightness, and they expect him back in the lineup on Friday. Normally, when they give Posey a day off from catching, they'll play him at first base.
Well, remember when the bases were loaded in the first game, Jonathan Neese got out of it by getting Posey on a ground ball to Murphy. He barely got down the line.
And it was a ball that if he had been busting, he might have had a chance to beat. It was deep behind the bag at third, and Murphy threw him out by 25 feet. And DeGrom really dialing it up, throws a slider by Susac, and it's 1-2.
Well, look at Buster talking to everyone about hitting, and kind of a de facto captain over there. Good slider cutter that DeGrom has working today.
He struck out 2 in a row. Susac able to foul off the fastball. 97 from Jay. Justin Maxwell hitting 8th in the order. He would be next. Ron bidding for his 9th victory of the season. Came into the day 6th in the National League in earned run average, 2.30. He gets Susac on the fastball upstairs. 3 strikeouts in a row for DeGrom after the leadoff double. That's some power pitching. No score after 2. Day for a kayak. 3rd inning presented by your local tri-state Audi dealers and the uncompromised Audi A3 sedan.
More of a paddleboard guy, not really the kayak guy.
Jacob DeGrom hitting 8th in the order. Takes outside from Jake Peavy. DeGrom 7 hits this year. hitting at 194. Met pitchers continue to excel with the bat where their mates have not. Popped up, shallow center. And it's Crawford to take charge. One away. Should have had it.
Well, he had a pitch to hit, so I mean that they hold themselves to a high standard.
I haven't checked the numbers lately, but up until a couple of days ago, and I think it's still the case, Met pitchers have a higher batting average than Met pinch hitters. Think about that.
We can say that up here, but if you're a pitcher, you just have to keep that quiet under bubble wrap, because you can't start talking about that because the guys on the bench will not like it.
Juan Lagares 1 for 4 in this series. Did not start yesterday. Kirk Neuenhuis got the start in center field. Lagares' bat has looked a little more sprightly over the last few days. Curtis Granderson on deck. One has now found a spot at the bottom of the batting order, hitting in that 9 spot in recent days. Peavy knocks it down in self-defense. Does he have time? Safe. Well, Peavy fortunate. That ball appeared to be headed right for his face, and he got the glove up to deflect it.
Did he? I thought it got him. I thought it hit in his face. Let's see. I thought it got between the wickets and got him, but I could be wrong. And nice try, but good speed by Lagares.
It's an infield hit for Juan, who had an awkward last step to the bag there. Let's look from this angle.
Maybe you're right, Gary. Got him in the glove because he didn't react like it hit him in the face or head.
And no emergence of any training staff. So the Mets have their first hit. Lagares at first, Granderson at the plate. Curtis hit one to right center, 400 feet. That was caught his first time up, and it takes the changeup low for ball 1. I know Granderson is the biggest power threat on the lineup, but if you're Lagares, you've got to steal this base, don't you?
With no lead, that's going to be an issue. But no, you're right. You're right. He does have to get out there. Did you see Tom Goodwin's reaction with the throw from Peavy? It's like, I'm too close to the field.
Let's back away. Just back away. Change-ups in a row from Peavy. A ball and a strike to Granderson.
That's Tommy Goodwin. He has a Kansas City Royals flashback here.
Tom was quite the base stealer in his day. Just don't have a whole lot of team speed, but Lagares showed last year he's capable of stealing a base. Not getting much of a lead. Granderson flies one to left. Across the line. Maxwell slide. Terrific catch. Going right up on the back of the bullpen mound. Justin Maxwell, with a very high degree of difficulty, makes a nice catch.
Well, you see the look down. He saw the angle he was going. He probably was going to stay on the back of that pitcher's mound. Peavy loves it. But that's one of the challenges you have here at this ballpark at AT&T. The bullpen mounds are on the field. You've got to negotiate them at some point. What a play by Maxwell.
Well, that is 2 highlight reel plays in foul territory that the Giants have made the last 2 days. Pence down the right field line yesterday, and now Maxwell. So 2 out in the inning. Now Ruben Tejada. Ruben struck out his first time up. We talked last night about the difficulty of the right field fence here in San Francisco, which is unique. Bullpen mounds on the field used to be more prevalent. Now they're not quite as much so. So you wonder, is that something of a home field advantage as well?
Well, I think it definitely is. 2 things. One, at Citi Field, Mets play where you're really challenged when you're down the line in foul territory because the stadium comes into play. But secondly, and most importantly, have you ever seen a coach hit fly balls near the bullpen mound and guys try to practice? No, because you'd be afraid of hurting them. So you'd never do that. So really, you're on your own to try to figure it out.
You know, it comes to mind that they intend to flatten Tal's Hill in Houston, and there's been so much conversation since they built that ballpark about if somebody might get hurt going up the hill. Nobody ever talks about the mounds on the field. That's the same possibility.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got that here. You've got it at Wrigley Field. Are there any others left now?
I don't think so. You have some room in center field if you wanted to here to put a couple of bullpen pens. Oakland, you have it, but it's so far out of play because they have all that foul room territory.
It used to be much more common for bullpen mounds to be in the field of play.
Well, I remember Steve Carlton, because he didn't like warming up on the mound behind the fence at the Veterans Stadium. They built him a tiny little mound right in front of the dugout, and he would warm up right in front of the dugout before the game.
Of course, years ago, that was very common for pitchers to warm up in front of the dugout, going back 30s and 40s. Tejada down on strikes. Peavy's got his third strikeout. Let's get their first hit. Still no score in the third. Visit Mets.com/tickets. A Mets fan taking some video. Be on Instagram before you know it. Murphy handles Maxwell's ground ball. The tag by Duda, and they get the out. Murphy's throw took Duda off the bag, but Duda able to slap the tag on Maxwell as he went by.
Well, we've seen this from Daniel before. He loves to spin around, but every time he does, he leaves that ball out. I don't think Duda ever tagged him.
I don't think he did either.
I think his body hit him, but I don't think he got the glove and tagged him. Yeah. See that? Just hit it under his armpit.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy's up to the top step, and he's going to challenge this. And rightly so. There was no tag.
I was going to say that Duda saved Murph an error, but he did not. Just hit him right underneath the armpit, and lucky that he did not hurt his first baseman with that errant throw.
Jordan Baker, the youngest umpire of this quartet, is the first base umpire who made that call. And Justin Maxwell was already coming off the field. He wasn't hanging around at first base, but he may get the base anyway.
Well, with fairness to Jordan Baker, that has to be as tough a call as you're going to get. The elbow there by Maxwell underneath the ribs of Duda.
But he didn't come close to tagging.
No.
I mean, that's not even... He wasn't even in the neighborhood.
The problem for an umpire, though, what are you listening for?
Oh, the sound of the contact.
So I think that's what fooled him.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda. So this should be fairly simple for the replay umpires. Brian Gorman's crew and Dale Scott crew Gil Scott's crew are working in New York, and they do overturn the call. That was pretty simple. So I assume that'll be an error on Murphy.
The caveat to that is Murph's got to stop spinning. Just catch the ball, open up, and fire a strike.
Well, the thing is also the arm angle he's using, the ball's going to tail every time.
There's only one way it's going to go, up the line, unless he picks a different spot to aim at.
So now Peavy, lifetime 163 hitter, no doubt will be asked to bunt. Maxwell at first and nobody out. And the pitch called a strike.
Very aggressive. You saw Roberto Kelly, the third base coach, looked into Bochy. Yeah, so he's listening really for a sound, and what he heard was the two bodies coming together, and he thought a tag might have been applied.
Peavy gets the bunt down. Ron, a little confusion, but Plawecki able to make the play. 2-4 on the sacrifice. Maxwell to second.
No, this is one of those excellent bunts where everyone says, I got it, I got it, no, you take it. And Plawecki stays alert and makes the play.
So the Giants have a runner in scoring position with one out, top of the batting order, and Gregor Blanco, who popped up in the first inning. Giants have had so many injuries to their outfielders. Blanco and Maxwell have played a lot more than anybody would have thought. This is the 43rd game Blanco has started. That's half the Giants' games this year. Pence has had 2 stints on the disabled list. Nori Aoki is out with a fractured leg. Pagan's had trouble with his knee. So all the Giants starting outfielders have had some kind of difficulty. And that's opened it up for Blanco, who's had a nice year. For DeGrom, and a check swing foul.
They have just been crowding Blanco inside.
You know, when we think of DeGrom and his greatest success, we think of his fastball down, but he's had a very successful fastball up so far today.
Well, 97 he said, so he's got a good one. This is what happens when you pitch once a week. The ball's going to be live upstairs.
Only 5 days rest this time for DeGrom. He pitched on Thursday, and this, let's see, it's Wednesday. This will be his last start before the All-Star break.
All the pitchers in this series are done for the season. I mean, done for the first half.
Now he might get an inning in the All-Star game next Tuesday.
With me, with this kind of rotation, Gary, Nice, Cologne, they all go in the bullpen for the weekend series. You know, not the first guys, but if you have an extra inning affair, or Nice, you need 3 left-handers in the lineup, maybe he maybe pitches an inning.
It's something that used to be done a lot more a couple of decades ago, using those starters out of the pen. Last couple of days before the All-Star break, Blanco draws a walk, first of the day for DeGrom. I remember the Mets tried it with R.A. Dickey a few years ago. It didn't go well.
Well, Tom Seaver used to tell me that right before the break, he would always try to run down to that bullpen and get an inning for the weekend series before the All-Star game. I said, why would you do that? Cheap win. Because I go in there, pitch a 5th or 6th.
By the way, here's your Tom Seaver note of the day. Okay.
Tom's close here, by the way.
Of all the pitchers who have ever pitched in California as the road pitcher, right?
Okay.
Pitchers from teams outside California coming to California to pitch. Who has the most wins?
Same Seaver.
It's Tom Seaver. 47 wins in California in his career. Never played for a California team.
Pretty good for a Fresno kid.
USC. Joe Panik takes ball 1.
By the way, you probably could say that about him in Ohio, Pennsylvania.
That's probably true. Panik flying to left his first time up. An error and a walk would put 2 men on for the Giants. And DeGrom struggling Misses away with a slider, 2-0.
It's that command deal that was mentioned after the Saturday game by Mr. Harvey. Sometimes you come out of the blocks, you're throwing hard, but really the only way to get hitters over a long period of time in a game is you have your command for where you want to throw it.
Matt Duffy waits on deck. DeGrom gave up a leadoff double in the second, then struck out 3 in a row. Now with 2 men on. 2-1 to Panic. Hit to left. On comes Campbell. He'll have to play it on a hop. And he's going to throw to third. Close play. And out on the force is Maxwell. Maxwell thought that ball was going to be caught. Got a very late break. And Campbell came up throwing. And they get the 7-5 force for the second out.
What a bad read, but a nice play by Campbell with a strike. And Maxwell didn't even come close to sliding where the base was.
He was looking at Campbell instead of looking at the base. He had no idea where he was.
I mean,
That's
just stop.
Terrible base running.
Just stop there. Once he tried to go back to second base is when he got lost.
That's terrible.
That wouldn't even been a good slide in the amateur leagues where they have the 2 bases.
We have seen some really bad base running this year. But that's the strangest thing I've ever seen. Duffy hits one deep to right center, way back in the gap. Lagares runs it down where extra base hits go to die. Lagares ran 1.5 miles for that ball and catches up to it at the edge of the warning track, more than 400 feet away. Look at him go. Mazian in the city where Willie used to play. Fourth inning, Mets and Giants no score. Where have you heard that before? Daniel Murphy lines one to left, but right at Justin Maxwell. He makes the grab. 1 pitch and 1 out for Jake Peavy in the fourth. So Murphy retired. Now Wilmer Flores, who flied to center his first time up. You know, Jake Peavy is at a point in his career where he's just kind of scrambling to keep himself relevant. And the good second half of the Giants last year after the terrible first half of the Red Sox. It's easy to forget just how dominant he was earlier in his career. twice led the league in ERA, twice led the league in strikeouts. When he was in San Diego, he was in the absolute elite.
And he also was dynamite to watch pitch each and every time out. Triple Crown winner in 2007 when he won his Cy Young.
He has been derailed by all sorts of injuries over the last 3 or 4 years. First, when he was with the White Sox, I mean, he never was really at his best with the White Sox. Had that one good year he made the All-Star team with Chicago, but has really come to the right place here in San Francisco. This is a venue that really helps nurture pitchers, not only the ballpark but also the pitching coach.
Good team, big ballpark, good pitching coach, good defense. You had all those things in. 92 and 68 as a San Diego Padre. Everywhere else about 500.
Well, how about this? And I don't know how you factor this in. I mean, you know, Petco Park is a terrific pitcher's park. His lifetime ERA at Petco is 2.78. His lifetime ERA everywhere else more than a run higher, 3.85. So is that because he was in his prime when he was with the Padres, or is that because Petco is such a great pitcher's park?
That's definitely part of it. Maybe Dennis D'Agostino would look this up, but I think with
hit sharply and just past Crawford, a base hit for Flores. So the Mets have their second hit and their first to the outfield.
With most good pitchers, now we're talking about his elite pitcher, but most good pitchers, I bet you their ERA is better at home than it is away. A run, I don't know, but
I mean, that factors in his other home ballparks like U.S. Cellular, which is not a good pitcher's ballpark. Yeah.
Well, I
pitched there for 5 years.
I think what helps is other than Colorado, pitching here in the West, you got some nice ballparks to pitch in.
There's Lucas Duda, who struck out his first time up. Those numbers we were talking about at Petco and everywhere else. Flores at first and 1 out. And Lucas watches wide, ball 1. Well, the Mets have now gone 394 plate appearances since their last home run. 9 games without a home run. It's the longest stretch of any team in the major leagues this year. And for Duda, who has had 1 home run since the 1st of June, it's especially stark after his 30 home run season last year. Davey behind 2-0. And he throws a 2-0 breaking ball, and now he's behind on Duda 3-0 with Plawecki on deck. Is it the time for Duda to go up there swinging 3-0?
Yeah, he's going to get a fastball. I mean, aggressive is always better in my estimation. Gary, how about our umpires behind the plate? We've got a couple that are helping Andy Fletcher this afternoon. All dressed in blue, calling pitch by pitch in the front row behind the plate. They're hilarious. 3-1. Why don't you make this call? Look at, they're intently watching, working as hard as Fletcher.
Now, are they always agreeing with Fletcher, or are they making independent calls?
No, they're whatever Fletcher calls, they're going with. But they got the hand signals. 3-1, 1 out, doing the whole thing.
Providing entertainment for themselves and the rest of us. Duda gets jammed and pops one up into shallow right. And Hunter Pence puts it away, 2 out.
They take the mask off. 2 down, the whole thing.
They got the numbers on their sleeves. They got the major league emblem. So they got the shirts just right. Have you checked their tickets? Are those really their seats?
They are just hilarious. I've seen them before at a couple of other ballparks.
Oh, is that right?
Figured so prominently.
Here's Plawecki, who was hit on the arm by a pitch his first time up.
There you go. better than the ball dudes today.
I mean, it's like a rock and roll group having a tribute band.
That's right.
The umpires have their own tribute band.
Dred Zeppelin.
Tangled up in blue.
There you go. There you go.
They're very committed to their craft. Milwaukee hits one deep to left field. Back goes Maxwell onto the warning track and makes the grab to end the inning. Another inning complete for those guys. Well, we're celebrating 10 years of Mets baseball on SNY. After the break, we'll go back and relive another one of the thrilling moments from the past.
Keith's always screaming at people when someone else is doing something.
You notice? We go to the bottom of the fourth. Hunter Pence will lead off against Jacob deGrom. Pence has the only Giants hit. Poked one over the first base bag for a double his first time up. He has certainly hit the ground running, hasn't he, after a month on the sidelines?
No, he's just a perfect player for the perfect ballpark and team. They love the free spirits here. Aesthetically, it's not beautiful to watch him play, but the results are awfully beautiful.
Well, he inspired a group of sign makers who followed him around the country, starting, I think it started at Citi Field last year, with their gently teasing, mocking Hunter Pence signs.
And just like Hunter, he embraced it. You know, and that's what made it even better.
Had a nice absurdist quality to it, which appealed to him. Strike three call. deGrom gets Pence looking for his fourth strikeout of the day.
Well, great setup. Fastball in, slider away, called for a strike, and then this called third strike. Awfully good pitching and moving the ball around the strike zone by deGrom.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Brandon Crawford, who struck out his first time up. Crawford already has a career high in home runs this year. He'd never hit more than 10. He's got 12 already this season. But it's been a slog for him lately. The last month or so, his numbers have cooled down significantly after a fast start. But he brings that glove every day. And he's a bigger shortstop, and when you first watch him, you don't really get the impression that he would be a great defensive shortstop. But the more you watch him, the more you appreciate him.
Yeah, he's more of a thicker-bodied kind of shortstop. You think of your shortstops as long and lean. Not long and lean, but more lean kind of player. And I think because he's a little thicker, this is where he gets all that power. But so nimble and quick.
It's interesting. The last Giant shortstop to make the All-Star team was Rich Aurelia. Same kind of player.
Although Crawford, I think, is a better defensive player in my estimation.
Really more of an offensive threat. Another St. John's guy.
There you go.
On the inside corner, strike 3 called. So back-to-back call third strikes for DeGrom. 6 pitches, 2 strikeouts, 2 out.
The last inning when he ran into trouble, he was throwing the baseball. No command. Total command here, and you see what the results are.
Sunday on Jets Nation, Janae heads to Arizona to see how Darrelle Revis is getting ready for the upcoming season. Plus, Sheldon Richardson's 4-game suspension and how it will affect the team on an all-new Jets Nation Sunday at 7, only on SNY. Brandon Belt takes up and away for ball 1. Mets will now overlap Murphy over to shallow right field, where he has spent plenty of time in his career in that infield shift.
By the way, DeGrom, give your fielders a chance to get a breath as they get over there.
Former infielder himself, he understands. 2-0 to Belt. Andrew Susac would be next. So you know Jerry's Familia is on the final ballot for the All-Star game. And he's got some serious competition. Got Clayton Kershaw and Johnny Cueto and Troy Tulowitzki. So he's got an uphill climb. So, you know, if Met fans would like to see Familia in the All-Star game, they should probably get out and vote and do it fast. As Belt hits it out to left field. Long run for Campbell, and he's going to let it drop for a hit. And Belt stops at first base. That's a ball that's got to be caught, and was not.
And the worst part of that is it's really hard to fault Campbell. He doesn't have enough foot speed to get to the baseball.
Anyway, you can go to Mets.com, MLB.com. You can cast your vote a million different ways for Familia. Another guy who's on the Final 5 ballot in the American League is Brian Dozier, and he is making the case the last couple of days for his candidacy. He hit another home run in the Twins win this afternoon over Baltimore.
Did you notice that some players that are on the voting have been pushed by their ball club to kind of get into the swing of things and help fans vote for them, and they've said no. Tulowitzki says, no, I'm not. If they want to vote for me, that's great. I'm not going to do one thing to alter the voting. Same with Brett Gardner of the Yankees. They wanted to put like kind of a bald cap and give it away as a giveaway because he has the bald head. And he said, no, none of that nonsense for me. If I make it, great. If I don't, I'll take the days off. So a little clawback by some of the players.
On the other hand, did you see that the Mets and Twins have teamed up?
Yeah.
With the Metropolitwins hashtag.
So if you vote for our guy, we'll vote for yours and ours. And yeah. Well, whatever's fun. It's fine with me. I just know Familia belongs. And as soon as a pitcher goes down and can't make it, he needs to be put on the rocks.
I certainly hope so. Pulled down to third. Murphy will go the short way. Gets the force to end the inning. It's another strong inning for Jacob deGrom. We're through 4 in San Francisco with no score.
Gary, you look at the left side of this Giants infield and you see Matt Duffy standing there, a guy that wasn't supposed to be the starting third baseman for the Giants this year. In a lot of respects, he was never really supposed to be a starting player in the major leagues. Even when he was drafted, he was 568th overall. That's kind of been the way it's gone for Matt Duffy his whole life. A kid that never really looked like a prototypical Major League Baseball player or a baseball player at all. But Duffy says he remembers the moment where he determined he was going to outwork everybody else to achieve his goals. It was when he was 12 or 13 years old, had a conversation with his father, and his father said to him, listen, at some point, someone is going to tell you that you can't play this game at this level, that you're not good enough, and it's up to you to determine at what level that is. How far can you take this? How badly do you want it? And Duffy at that moment said, I'm going to work so hard that no one's going to ever say that to me. Started doing extra work, read an article at the time about Brandon Wood, who was in the Angels organization, about him and his dad taking 200 ground balls a day extra outside of whatever organized baseball. He started doing things such as that. And at this point, here he is.
Well, I tell you, I can relate to that story as Campbell pops that one down the right side. Foul. Can Belt get to it? No. When I was a schoolboy and playing in an all-star game, after the game was done and I had a particularly good day, one of the scouts for the Red Sox, remain nameless, no need to know his name, came up to me and said, hey, you're going to college, right? I said, yeah. He goes, that's very fortunate for you because, you know, you'll never, ever play in the major leagues. I remember when he said that to me, I was so angry. And but, you know, that chip on my shoulder worked. It really helped me get focused for the next few seasons.
You know, there are two ways that can go.
Yeah.
With certain people, that might be enough to dissuade them. But you have to have the force of conviction that you can do otherwise. Yeah. Easy play for Blanco, and Campbell retired one away. I mean, was that a motivator for you? Did you use that to your advantage?
It was a motivator for me for everything I did baseball-wise from that period on the rest of my life. I remember when I went to the Cape Cod League, everyone said you can't be an Ivy Leaguer and play with all these guys from Arizona State, from University of Miami. They play real baseball. You don't have a chance. And after I won the MVP award there and all the major awards you can win, that was another chip off the block. And I kept it going, and I used it all the way until the Mets faced the Red Sox in the World Series. All that time. I don't know why I brought it up. Now I'm angry here.
Did you ever see that scout again?
I did. I didn't say anything. And as scouting goes, a lot of times people that scouted me when I was a youngster say things to me that did not occur. They will, you know, well, I always knew you'd make it. You know, I was behind you 100%. Right. You know, you're one of the great athletes. You just had to find your place. You know, those kind of things. And I just kind of poo-poo it because what can you do now? I'm an old man. You have to kind of give up silly things.
Rom just gets a piece to keep the at-bat alive. But, you know, a chip on your shoulder can be a very worthwhile tool.
Well, let's just say this: don't ever be in an old timers game, buddy, with me, because I'll take one last shot at the title.
The ground goes down on the changeup, and that's the fourth strikeout for Peavy. 2 out. So you're saying there could be chin music in an old timers game?
I think that what happens a lot of times is you just get pigeonholed and put in a box, and it's just human nature to do that. It's not even bad on scouts or bad. People put other people in a box, and it just happens.
It happens in other realms too.
Of course.
Here's Lagares, who hit a comebacker that Peavy knocked down before he could hit him in the face, and by the time he scrambled after it, Lagares had himself an infield hit. Just one of a collection of odd hits that Lagares has accumulated on this road trip.
He has 5 hits total. 3 of them are kind of strange.
Well, he had the one that hit the umpire in Los Angeles, the one that Yasiel Puig either lost in the sun or just didn't care to catch that went for a triple.
And this one here.
Then he was robbed of a hit by Duffy the other night, so he's had some interesting at bats. Peavy's ahead of him 0-2. Mets have had just 2 hits today. And Lagares drives this one to right. Pence, though, gets over and grabs it for the out. So another hard hit ball for Lagares. But the Mets are down 1-2-3. Halfway through, no score. Carried no hitters into the 7th. Each has given up 2 hits today, but runs have been just as hard to come by. Justin Maxwell leads off the bottom of the 5th. Maxwell reached on an error by Daniel Murphy his first time up. Gets one out to center field, and Lagares eases back, says, "I got it." 1 out. Let's check out today's Verizon trivia question. First batter to strike out 180 times in a season.
First one. I got a guess.
I got 3 guys in mind, and I'm not sure who was the first. Strike to Peavy, who sacrificed his first time up.
Oh, it could, and he might have some San Francisco Giant ties. Well, another guy.
Okay.
All right. You know what I'm thinking?
Yeah, I know who you're thinking, but he was not on my list.
I had a guy who played with the Tigers. Big burly guy. Outfielder. Great arm. Name of an animal.
Well, I got a guy who made his name in the postseason.
Well, okay. All right. That's a good trivia question.
I got a guy who's a great switch hitter.
There you go. Keats.
Yeah. Two to Peavy. That's away, and so DeGrom, who's walked only 1 and struck out 5, goes 3-2 on the opposing pitcher. Building up your pitch count in a way that you care not to. And Peavy strikes out. That's 6 now for DeGrom.
He yells at himself when he takes a bat at bat. Ball's a foot outside.
He was yelling at himself almost mid-swing.
Simultaneously.
So now DeGrom starts his 3rd time through the batting order. Gregor Blanco has popped up and walked 0 for 1. Well, the Mets trying to edge toward the Nationals. They're 3.5 behind, but also trying to hold off the Braves, who are only a half game behind the Mets. Atlanta jumped out to a 4-0 lead in Milwaukee today, but Carlos Gomez has hit 2 home runs, as Blanco argues that last call. And Milwaukee now leads Atlanta 6-5 going to the 9th. I read today that the Braves have now used 49 players this year. 49 players were not even at the All-Star break.
Remember, what is it, 10, 12 days ago, they brought up 2 pitchers that had never seen the major leagues, minor leaguers for 9 consecutive years.
Well, they keep retooling. Manny Banuelos got his first big league win for them last night, the former Yankee prospect.
You say Fultonevich is in the bullpen now.
Duda handles the ground ball. 1-2-3 inning for Jacob deGrom in the bottom of the 5th, and the zeros roll on into the 6th. Mets and Giants still no score. Up the hill, see Alcatraz in the background.
I took that cable car. That's on Powell Street. Straight to Pier 39. Catch the ferry out to Sausalito. Skomas for lunch, folks. Next time you're here.
Would you like to write up your review?
I will.
Third time around the batting order for Jake Peavy, who's allowed just 2 hits. Curtis Granderson is 0 for 2. Last time up, Curtis had a foul fly down the left field line, and Justin Maxwell made a nice catch at the back of the bullpen mound. Peavy has not walked a batter. He's struck out 4. Just his second start back from 2 months on the disabled list, and he's looked just fine. There was a change-up to Granderson, 1-2.
Just like Keston on the first night, plenty of change-ups against Granderson.
Ruben Tejada on deck, then Daniel Murphy in the 6th. Each team with only 2 base hits today. It's been a theme. And a chip swing foul.
Here, Peavy grunting from up here. Tries to get a little extra on that fastball.
He puts everything into everything, doesn't he? 1-2. Got him. Peavy strikes out Granderson, his 5th of the day. Let's check in with the studio. Gary Apple has a game break brought to you by Honda. that the K-Rod who's going to the All-Star game?
Yes, it is.
The Jonathan Papelbon who's going to the All-Star game?
Both are not having as good a year as Mets reliever, but that's how it goes.
Tejada trying to dunk one into shallow right center and does for a base hit. So the Mets have their third hit of the afternoon, a one-out single for Tejada. Well, the Mets are about to play the Diamondbacks over the weekend, and they believe their closer is all-star worthy, Brad Ziegler, who has a 1.22 ERA, only a little higher than Familia's.
A little different for all-star game when you're trying to pick a reliever, though, because he's not a strikeout guy. You know, he's a ground ball guy.
But if you want to neutralize a right-hand batter,
there you go.
Okay, with that sidearm delivery.
Hit toward the hole. Crawford with the diving stop. The sidearm throw goes into right field. Tejada running for third. The ball rolling around down in the bullpen. Tejada turns third. He'll score the first run of the game. Brandon Crawford trying to throw from an odd angle and threw it away, and the Mets lead it 1-0.
Well, the break that the Mets needed. One, I couldn't believe that Crawford got to the ball in the hole, but he gobbled it up, and then trying to throw from down under pulls that ball a little bit past Panic, and there's no one going to be there once it gets by Panic as it goes down the right field line. It would have been a play if he could have made the throw. He didn't, and the Mets catch a break. The slide by Tejada gets up, and by that time it's rolling around in right field. Tejada can score from second base.
It's a single for Murphy, an error on Crawford allowing the run to score, and the Mets cashed the first run of the day. We talked about the bullpens coming into play. They kind of do there, right? If you had less room in foul territory, somebody might have gotten to that ball sooner and maybe the run doesn't score. But the Mets take full advantage. And here is Flores, who had a base hit to left field his last time up. I mean, it's such a wide area there between the foul line and the stands because of those bullpen mounds. Wilmer hits one to the right side, and Panic makes the play. Murphy to third with 2 out.
That's why you say sometimes you look at someone and say, boy, he's got a lot of errors. Well, that error right there, no one gets to that ball. So not a good error, of course, by Crawford. There never is, but almost came off with an amazing play.
Right, so you're saying most shortstops don't even have the opportunity to make an error there. It's his 9th of the year.
Second most last year, but he's one of the best shortstops in the game.
Well, he has the second most errors of any Bay Area shortstop this year.
Marcus Semien having a tough time at Oakland.
27?
27.
Here's Duda with a runner at third and 2 out. Lucas 0 for 2 today. Struck out and flied out.
This is a huge at bat. Big cushion for DeGrom if you can get a 2-out knock here.
Duda 0 for his last 12, 9 for his last 72. He keeps it away from him, ball 1. Jacob deGrom flashing a bit of a smile. Why not? He's got a lead now. You never talk that much between innings. And Peavy stepping off and looking at first. What is that?
It was a brain, you know what, just forgot what had happened, where the base runners are. Over caffeinated. There's a million reasons.
It's lucky he didn't step off and make a motion to throw. That would have been a balk. It's final in Milwaukee. Brewers beat the Braves 6-5. Milwaukee's been playing much better the last 2 weeks. Duda fouls off the changeup. See, they're not throwing him fastball and fastball counts. There are your city probables for the series this weekend. Noah Syndergaard, Matt Harvey, and Steven Matz lined up for the Mets. Chase Anderson, Patrick Corbin's second start back from Tommy John surgery, and then Ruby De La Rosa on Sunday. Diamondbacks are playing well right now. They've won 4 of their last 5. Another changeup from PV, and he falls behind Duda 3-1. It's hard to quantify, I know, but how much of Duda's difficulties are the fact that nobody has any incentive to throw him a strike?
Big time. I wouldn't throw him a strike either. He's going out of the strike zone, which is exponentially hurting his issue, but
hasn't drawn many walks lately, but he gets one there. And the Mets have runners at the corners with 2 out. Yeah, if you just go by the pitches he's been thrown, he should have about 60 walks by now. But he's been going out of the strike zone and preventing himself from walking.
Well, I think from Fangraphs, I think there's maybe 10, maybe a dozen hitters that have swung at more pitches out of the strike zone. So that's all.
So 1st and 3rd and 2 out. Now Kevin Plawecki. Plawecki's been hit by a pitch and fly to left. Had 2 doubles last night. Mets could use 1 here.
Swinging the bat much better, more aggressive, quicker bat. It seems like it's almost like the rest helped him.
And the sun comes out. First time today we've had some sunshine in San Francisco. Might get some murmur from the crowd. I'm not used to sitting in clouds in the afternoon.
It's all about the vitamin D here.
Plawecki skies one to right, pretty well hit, but playable for Pence. And that retires the side. Mets cash an unearned run in the top of the 6th. Brandon Crawford making a terrific stop in the hole. So Crawford's throwing error brings in the first run of the game. Jacob deGrom, thus nourished, will go back to the mound with a 1-0 lead.
Bottom of the 6th here in San Francisco. Mets up 1-0. Joe Panik in the box against Jacob deGrom to lead off this inning. To end the top half of the inning, it was Kevin Plawecki flying out 0 for 2 today, but 2 hard-hit balls. And, you know, Ron, you were mentioning it while he was at bat that he looks a little fresher, bat speed a little quicker. Maybe the rest did him good as Panik lines out into left field. But it was more than just the rest with Kevin Plawecki. He was having those vertigo-like symptoms for about a month. once they got that figured out, Plawecki said it's been like night and day, hitting .310 coming into the day in the last 14 games. And the way Plawecki described it is when he was going through that bad headspace, he would go up to the plate and he would not be able to recognize any pitches because it was almost like he was punch drunk. So he would go up there just guessing what the next pitch was rather than recognizing what the next pitch would be. And that didn't just lead to a lowering of the batting average. It also led to a much higher strikeout rate, something that Plawecki never had in the past. He was striking out about once every 3 plate appearances, as opposed to now, since that time, once every 11 about.
Well, you could see there was something wrong because he's been too good a hitter at every level for too long. And he didn't say anything for several weeks while that was going on, and finally it just became too much, and he had to open up about it.
Well, it's hard when you're a young player in your first year to say anything because you don't want to get the reputation that people on your team are saying he's soft, you know, he can't play every day. So a lot of times you see young players just trying to gut it out. And that's all well and good, but when things get when you're suffering injuries that are not baseball related, you always have to relay them to the medical staff.
Two and two to Duffy, and that just missed. Full count. Well, 5 innings after Murphy and Tejada donned the sunglasses, now there's some sun.
I'm channeling Richie Havens' version.
Anderson edges back. He's there. And Duffy retired. 2 out. Havens over the Beatles? Really?
Well, the Beatles is as good as it gets, and everyone knows that. But I mean, this might be an old wives' tale, but you know, the weather in Woodstock was so bad, and apparently Havens came out and did his version of "Here Comes the Sun," and the sun cracked through. And
so you're saying there were mystical powers attached to that.
And depending on what you were on, you probably felt them more or less of the sun coming out.
And hits one deep to left field, right down the line near the corner. That ball is foul. Just missed. I mean, just missed the foul pole.
Wow, that's as close as you're going to see. A little breaking ball in the middle of the plate, just a little quick, and he knew it.
Thought he might do a little fist wave. So DeGrom got away with that.
So here you are as a Mets pitcher, DeGrom today. Can't make a mistake kind of game.
I mean, right now you got to think, I've got my run, I better make it stand up.
You're not only thinking that, Gary, you're thinking, I've got to win this game 1-0. The help I have is Familia in the 9th. I've got to go 3 more innings. 6, 7, 8. That's what you're feeling.
1-2.
Struck him out. DeGrom with a breaking ball strikes out Pence for the 2nd time. 7 strikeouts for DeGrom. He throws a shutdown inning after getting the lead. 1-0 Mets after 6.
As the Twins beat the Orioles. 2 home runs for Carlos Gomez, including a 3-run shot in the 8th, and the Brewers beat the Braves. Dustin Ackley's 2-run homer tied it up for the Mariners. Eric Campbell leads off in the 7th inning against Jake Peavy and takes a strike. Campbell getting the start in left field today. Has been up twice, flied out both times. Mets got an unearned run in the 6th on Brandon Crawford's throwing error, and that's been it. Campbell takes one the other way, and he's got a base hit. Just his 2nd hit in his last 28 at bats, and the Mets have a leadoff man on for the first time today. So the Mets now with 5 hits on the afternoon, and Jake Peavy will face Jacob deGrom. And is it guaranteed he's going to be asked to bunt?
I would think so. You got to play for a run here, and hitting in the 8th slot works for the team. They have their pitcher up.
deGrom has 3 sacrifices this year, but they're going to play
Hit and run, and he gets the base hit through the vacated hole. Campbell goes first to third. Jacob deGrom with a hit and run single, and the Mets have runners at the corners and nobody out.
Well, you look at the defense, how it's lined up. Third baseman Duffy's in. Belt holding on the runner at first. He takes off, opens up that hole. And almost shocking that Terry Collins right now can do more with the Mets pitchers at bat, and sometimes he can do with his own players at bat.
It's almost like logic has been flipped on its head for this team offensively. George Contos, Josh Osich, both of whom pitched last night, getting up in the Giants bullpen. But I mean, it's such a strange set of circumstances. You've got a pitching staff that is so adept with the bat that Terry's doing things that he wouldn't even have thought of in other situations.
Think about this, Gary. Of all the metrics that you see in baseball, what is the one part in the batting order that you never really ever in the National League have paid attention to? And that's that pitcher spot. And the Mets are going to have to, moving forward, think about that pitcher spot as a plus quality for them.
Jake goes with the hoodie at first base. A little different look. So Juan Lagares comes up, 1st and 3rd and nobody out. Giants have their middle infielders halfway. Lagares has an infield hit, and he's lined out to right. And he takes one the other way. Toward the line comes Pence. Cross the line. He can't make the catch. It's a foul ball. And he's probably fortunate he didn't catch it, because Campbell would have scored easily had he done so.
Boy, he got there almost in time, but he was lucky enough, he's athletic enough that when he didn't catch it, he folded himself into like a little ball and knees first into that padding on the wall.
The old accordion play.
Yeah. Without Lawrence Welk in attendance. Nice play.
And a 1 and a 2. 0-1 to Lagares. And Peavy comes up and in and gets ahead 0-2. Curtis Granderson on deck. As we're able to cash a run in the 6th on a break. Here making their own breaks. A leadoff hit for Campbell, a hit and run single for deGrom.
Watch. Well, he got there in time. Hard to say whether I don't think he pulled his arm back.
I think he just closed the glove a little too soon.
I think he pulled his arm back to protect himself from jamming it into the fence, but who knows? Last 2 games have been magic for Pence.
Well, whether it was a good play to let it drop, if he did, depends on what happens from here. 1-2 to Lagares. You know what I mean? With a runner at 3rd and nobody out, you don't know what's going to happen in the inning, but the odds are that somehow that run's going to score anyway, and you might want to trade that run for an out if you're the Giants, depending on what happens later, to stay out of a bigger inning. Need Lagares to put this ball in play. And he just got a piece of that to keep the at-bat alive.
No, I think he just missed it. I think he did last night. This was the play against Granderson. He goes out and gets it.
But he didn't have the sidewall coming up on him that time. I'm with you. I think he was trying to catch the ball. 1-2 to Lagares.
Grounds one toward the hole, cut off by Duffy. He gets the out at second, but a run comes home, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead. Nice play by Duffy, but it's an RBI for Lagares as Campbell scores. And it's 2-0 New York.
Again, we've seen a lot of nice plays by Duffy. He wants to turn two, but there's no chance with Lagares, and DeGrom gets in there, not to upset the play. Panic knew that he had no chance to turn this ball once the hesitation from Duffy.
So the Mets scratch out a run thanks to DeGrom's hit and run single. Lagares gets his 25th RBI. Now he's at first with one out, and Curtis Granderson the batter. Curtis is 0 for 3, struck out his last time up. Peavy up to 90 pitches on the day. Granderson takes a strike. They've got a safety net behind Peavy with Osich and Contos both ready to go if needed. Peavy threw 94 pitches in his first start back from the DL in Washington. Went 6 1/3 in that game. He's gone 6 1/3 so far today.
Granderson nubs one. They'll never throw him out, will they? Duffy makes a try and gets him. What a great play. That is a tremendous play by Matt Duffy. From where he was playing, there didn't look like there was a chance in the world, but he nips Granderson at first base.
You're right, Gary. Came out of nowhere, and he's got that strong arm that he flips across his body. Close play at first.
Well, Duffy with 2 tremendous plays in this inning to get the Giants a couple of outs. Now Lagares down in scoring position with 2 out for Ruben Tejada. Ruben scored the first Met run after singling to right center in the 6th.
Bang, bang at first. Wow. Doesn't get any closer than that. Literally, the only thing that wasn't down was the toe of Granderson to beat that ball out.
Let me ask you a question. If the spike on the bottom of your shoe hits the bag, but the sole has not hit yet, does that count as hitting the bag?
That's up to Park Avenue, Gary. That's much too difficult for me.
Belt underneath the pop-up, squeezes it for the 3rd out, but the Mets add a run. Playing some hit and run. 2-0 Mets.
His mates congratulate him on a job well done, but boy, he's not very happy. People's United Bank's starting pitcher numbers, and DeGrom has had the better of Peavy today, as he did when they met last year. And DeGrom helping himself offensively as well. Brandon Crawford leads off the home seventh and hits one deep to left center. Back in the gap, Lagares onto the warning track. He makes the catch. Crawford making a bid, but that ball goes nowhere in this misty air, and that's the first out.
Just gets such a quick jump. A ball that is a double with a lot of center fielders. Just an out here.
So one pitch and one retired for DeGrom. He's now retired 8 in a row since Brandon Belt blooped a single to left in front of Campbell in the fourth. And now Belt bats for the third time today. So the Giants down by 2 runs in the seventh, being aggressive here against DeGrom.
Well, they've seen that you get behind him, you're done. 96 miles an hour here in the seventh for DeGrom.
Pulled down to first. Duda handles the hop. He'll take it himself. And on 3 pitches, DeGrom has the first 2 outs in the bottom of the seventh. Let's look at our Verizon trivia question for today. First batter to strike out 180 times. I was thinking Reggie Jackson.
Rob Deere, Ramon Martinez,
Bobby Bonds. We were mentioning Giants ties. There you go.
That makes sense.
Now 180 times. Nothing. What's the record? 223 now?
Yeah.
Mark Reynolds. Remember when who was it in Milwaukee who was going to strike out 200 times? And Jerry Royster was the interim manager, and they sat him down the last few days of the season.
The shortstop, right? Shortstop at third baseman?
Because I think he was going to become the first hitter to strike out 200 times, and they benched him so that he wouldn't.
I mean, my first thought was Ramon Martinez, but I don't think that was his name. I think I'm missing.
1-2 to Susak. DeGrom rolling now, 9 in a row retired. Hasn't a lot of base runners since he got the lead. These are difficult times for this starting staff, knowing that their margin for error is nil, and yet still going out there every game and pitching gems. 2-2 to Susak.
Well, Matz has won his 2 starts, driving in 5.
Mets have no trouble scoring on his days.
That's right.
7 the first game and 8 the second.
It's not coming until Sunday, though.
Well, now full count to Susak. Josh Osich, the rookie left-hander, up in the Giants bullpen with 2 left-hand hitters due up for the Mets in the 8th.
It's gained by Peavy, though, right?
Three-two coming, and Susak taps one foul. Andrew Susak. We saw Josh Osich in the bullpen. They were battery mates at Oregon State. Teammates with the Beavers, and now with the Giants.
Well, they've had a good program there in Oregon State quite some time.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 8 strikeouts for Jacob DeGrom. He's retired 10 in a row. It's like he's just getting rolling. 2-0 Mets after 7.
to you by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the game is Pat Cawley of Glendale, New York. Hi, Pat. Contact Pat at patcawley.com. By Buick, visit tristatebuick.com and experience the new Buick for yourself. And by Wise Snacks, go to windupandwin.com now for your chance to win Wise Snacks, Mets experiences, and other amazing prizes. What's the Bear doing with the Pirates? I don't get it. Am I missing a Johnny Depp joke somewhere?
Yeah, right.
Josh Osich on to pitch the 8th, facing Daniel Murphy. Murph hit the ground ball to short that led to the first Met run. Brandon Crawford made a great stop, then threw it away, and Ruben Tejada scored all the way from first base. Murph hits a comebacker, and Osich makes the play. One out. Thank you to a variety of people who have texted and emailed in the last minutes to let us know it was Jose Hernandez, the Brewers shortstop, who was an all-star that year, who got benched to keep him from striking out 200 times.
He was a fool. You know, you were mentioning Osich before, Gary. Oregon State. When he was there, he threw a no-hitter against the UCLA Bruins. Pitcher that day for the Bruins, Trevor Bauer.
A lot of pedigree there. Wilmer Flores 1 for 3 today, and he grounds one down to third. Duffy, who's made some outstanding plays, has an easy one there, and quickly there are 2 out. You could win a trip for 4 to Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll experience the action and fun of 2 amazing theme parks, plus stay on site at Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort. Just go to sny.tv/Toyota and enter the Toyota Fan Flyaway Sweepstakes for your chance to win. Didn't know so many people were watching on a weekday afternoon.
No, this is prime time now. This is a good time to, after work,
people are still driving home, though. It's 5:40 in the afternoon.
And maybe they took some time off, where they're at the little place in the city before they catch a train home.
I mean, this isn't Game 6 in '86 where everybody's watching TVs in the windows of electronics stores.
No, but social media, people are tweeting others and saying, hey, listen, you got to check out DeGrom. He's throwing a gem again, you know?
Dude is 0 for 2 in a walk today, and he taps one foul, 1-1.
You know, some people like to take the day off on a day game.
I mean, you know what happened in '86 in that Game 6.
I do.
Was it 3 o'clock New York
Start
time, I think, and the game lasted almost 5 hours, and nobody wanted to leave work. Nobody wanted to leave the city. They didn't want to be on the train or in the car when the climax came.
A lot of my friends who lived in the city said that they would just stand out. Was it Crazy Eddie's in those days?
Yep.
Or they would just they were standing outside the window, and then it would just ended up taking over the street, and then traffic was going around because they didn't want to disturb the people watching the game on TV. And they all had the train schedule. Everyone knows their train schedule when they get home, and everyone kept putting it off. Okay, I'll catch the 6:30. I'll catch the 7:10.
Good grounds went into the shift. Crawford playing on the right side. That's a 6-3 putout and a very easy inning for Josh Osich. Aye. Oh, hey, matey. To take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. They'll have Noah Syndergaard on the mound for the opening game of the series at Citi Field. Our coverage begins Friday night at 6 o'clock right here on SNY. Jacob deGrom working on a 2-hit shutout as we start the bottom of the 8th. Justin Maxwell swings at the first pitch. Skies one to right center. Lagares takes charge. 1 pitch and 1 out for deGrom in the 8th. And Jacob deGrom at 88 pitches through 7 1/3. And every time he's had a little touch of adversity this year, he had a stretch of 3 or 4 starts earlier in the year. He had the bad start against the Cubs the last time out. He has responded in a big way.
You know, when you see the plate, a lot of pitchers try to move the ball in on the plate, off the plate, or start the ball on the plate and move it off the plate. He doesn't. He has that whole rectangle that he pitches to each corner, up and down, inside and out. He has great control of all of that rectangle within the strike zone, and that's what makes him so effective. When he gets ahead, he goes out of the rectangle. That's why he gets masses those strikeouts.
Ray Adrianza is the pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher. How do you explain that a guy who was not a pitcher for most of his life and came to pitching late can have that kind of pitching savvy?
Instincts for the game. When you play another position, whether it's infield, outfield, you've got to have some instincts for the game to play every day. Gene Machi is up for the Giants, and he has those instincts. He's got great baseball instincts. You saw him with the hit and run, little things that he can do, how he fields his position. But he is able to take those instincts he has as a former player, college player, and use them as a pitcher. And Greg Maddux was the greatest example. I'm not putting him in that boat. But Maddux would read the swing of the bat. If the guy was pulling his fastball foul, he was open to the changeup. He was hitting the fastball up the middle, then he had to go maybe a breaking ball.
He had Adrianza walking away almost before that pitch crossed the plate. He knew he'd been had. 9 strikeouts for deGrom.
Oh, when it's right down the middle, that's how you know.
I've never seen a guy vacate that quickly. Bobby Parnell standing but not throwing in the Mets bullpen. Why bother throwing? The way deGrom's going. Mets do not have a complete game this year. Maybe today will be the first. 93 pitches with 2 out in the 8th. Now the 4th time around the batting order, Gregor Blanco, who's 0 for 2 and a walk.
And the other thing that I didn't mention, and I should, because you know he's a long, lean kid, and he's got the great hair, and you know you think of him as a great athlete. You forget about the one thing that separates him. He is an incredible competitor. You know, you can see it, just the way he identifies when to get an out, when a big out is coming, when he needs a strikeout. He did it earlier in the game.
Well, the number that stands out for me, and he's enhanced it today, coming into the day in his major league career with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, batters are hitting 163 against him.
Huge.
And he's already had a couple more outs on that ledger today. 2-1 coming. Blanco fouls it back 2-2. I mean, he just knows when the money is on the table.
Think about it this way. Every pitcher, unless you're the Hall of Fame guys like Pedro in his prime, Randy Johnson, and others from other eras, but every pitcher is going to have base runners. You all do. It's how you pitch when the runners are in scoring position or on base. Are you able to get something from inside and get it done?
Blanco able to foul off that inside fastball.
The Red Sox used that one year in 04, cowboy up, something like a variation of that, you know.
Two. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 10 strikeouts for Jacob deGrom. He is painting a masterpiece this afternoon. Could hang in the Palace of Fine Arts. Go to the 9th, 2-0 Mets.
All right, guys, we'll see you after the game. Kevin Plawecki will lead off the ninth, and it does not appear that Jacob deGrom is going to get a chance for the complete game shutout. Jerry's Familia getting ready in the Mets bullpen. Plawecki 0 for 2 and a hit batsman. Gene Michie, the new Giants pitcher, gets the slider in for a strike.
Well, when you watch Michie pitch, he just dominates the left-handed hitters because that good split finger. But you see the numbers. Right-handers often 23 hits and 80 at-bats.
Meanwhile, deGrom retired his last 13 batters. Chopper toward the middle of the diamond, and no play off the glove of Panic. Wide turn by Plawecki, but he'll hold on as Blanco gets to it quickly and then throws it right by Crawford at second base, but it's backed up by the pitcher.
Well, you teach your middle infielders on that play there, if you can't make the play, and it's obvious he couldn't make it, you don't put a glove on it, because if you direct it somewhere else, a faster runner could have turned that into a double.
Well, there's Familia, who will be bidding for the save in the ninth inning, going for number 24. What do you think about that? 99 pitches for deGrom. He's retired 13 in a row. He's got the All-Star break coming up, albeit he may pitch an inning Tuesday in the All-Star game.
Well, I'd have to say today's game has good move by Michie. Today's game has broke me, Gary. It's completely broke me because I said after deGrom finished that inning with the strikeout that he was done. And why would I ever say that? Because he's pitching as well as you could ever pitch. He's pitching better now than he was earlier in the game. Any other time in baseball, except the contemporary game, he would have been allowed to finish it up. But you got a guy who's been pretty good out there, and you're going to bring him in. It's just today's game. It's how it goes.
10 strikeouts today. His 7th career double-digit strikeout game. His 3rd this year. And he'll have to be satisfied with 8 scoreless innings today. Just 2 hits allowed. Another brilliant performance for him to put on his ledger and take to Cincinnati.
I do have to say, though, deGrom has been the most unluckiest of all the starters for the Mets. He's had 3 wins given up by the bullpen.
Well, if you're going to put it in the bullpen's hands, who better to put it in the hands of than Jerry's Familia? Get it straight from 8 to Familia. It's a pretty solid formula.
Good career move for a starting pitcher.
1-1 to Campbell. Neuenhuis out on deck to bat for deGrom. Here's your Mets box score. Hits have been spread out today. Mets scratched out a couple of runs, an unearned run in the 6th, a run set up by deGrom's hit and run single in the 7th. And that's been enough so far. Mets trying to make it 2 shutout wins in 3 games here in San Francisco, and 3 shutouts in the last 4 games overall. They were shut out themselves last night. This is how it's going on a daily basis. A minimum of runs given up by the Mets and a minimum of runs scored.
What do we got, 8 total in the series between the 2 teams?
A couple of 3-0 games and a 2-0 game today. Campbell had a base hit to right and scored the second Met run. His last time up. Runner goes and it's fouled off. So Plawecki was moving. Mets successfully played hit and run in the 7th, and they were trying to do it again. The way deGrom's effort today lowers his ERA for the season to 2.14, and over his last 10 starts now, 1.38. That's how dominant Jacob deGrom has been.
.22 innings by Mets starting pitchers in the series. 2 earned runs.
You take it back to that last game in Los Angeles when Steven Matz threw 6 scoreless innings and only extended from there. Starting pitching has been just magnificent, and the bullpen's been awfully good as well. One and 2 to Campbell. The breaking ball sits high. 2-2. Gene Michie making his 2nd appearance in this series. Got a couple of outs in the opening game of the series Monday night. Low throw, and Belt has to pull that out of the dirt. Giants have more action in their bullpen. Sergio Romo, Javier Lopez are up.
Campbell hits it deep to left field. Back goes Maxwell looking up, and it's out of here! Eric Campbell with his third home run of the year, a two-run shot. And the Mets double up their lead. It's now 4-0 New York. There have been a lot of dark days for Eric Campbell, but he just brightened his world with one big swing. Two-run shot for Campbell and a 4-run Met lead in the ninth.
Well, I mentioned that right-handers have given Machie problems. Now 29 for 82. And Campbell, who got the surprise start this afternoon, pays dividends. Hanging slider.
First home run for the Mets in their last 10 games. They had gone 414 plate appearances without a home run since Curtis Granderson went deep against the Reds a week ago Saturday. And Campbell breaks that stretch. Now Neuenhuis batting for DeGrom pulls one foul. So no more save chance for Jeurys Familia, and he has sat down, and Bobby Parnell is starting to loosen up.
That was a bomb by Soup.
Well, good for him. Had an opposite field hit his previous at bat and scored a run, and now he breaks the Mets home run drought with a two-run clout. His third home run of the season.
Maybe lost in that another base hit for Kevin Plawecki.
Neuenhuis started the first two games of this series after coming up from Las Vegas. It's nice to see Eric Campbell smile. There's not been a whole lot for him to smile about the last month or so. I think it had been 15 games since anybody other than Granderson had hit a home run for the Mets. Juan Lagares waits on deck. And Neuenhuis takes a splitter low and away, 2-2. Happy flight?
It's like the weight off his shoulders. I mean, surprise start when he saw his name in the lineup.
Neuenhuis lifts one to left. Maxwell back in the gap. Gets there for the first out of the inning. Well, coming up tonight at 10:30, it's Geico Sports Night on SNY. The Mets hoping to gain some ground on the Nats after the Reds beat them the last two. Football news and golf as well, all on Geico Sports Night tonight at 10:30 on SNY.
Giants doctors went to see Jason Pierre-Paul and he wouldn't let him. Oh, that's interesting.
Lagares lifts one to right center. Plenty of room out there for Pence. And there are two out. Looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth, the Giants will have Panic, Duffy, and Pence coming up. And Bobby Parnell getting ready to pitch that bottom of the ninth, with the Mets now having expanded their lead to 4 runs on Eric Campbell's heroics. Granderson today is 0 for 4, robbed of a hit on a terrific play by Matt Duffy his last time up. Granderson hits one out to left, and Maxwell is there to grab it, and that retires the side. Eric Campbell snaps a long home run drought for the Mets. 414 plate appearances without a long ball till Campbell goes deep, and it's 4-0 New York going to the bottom of the ninth. stays in the game to play left field, and Bobby Parnell, for the first time in a week, will go to the mound.
The revamped Bobby Parnell has not allowed a run since his return. 7 2/3 innings.
Joe Panik will lead off in the last of the ninth, and takes the one away from Parnell. Well, Eric Campbell giving the Mets breathing room with that 2-run homer to put the Mets home run drought into something of more perspective. You know how long Travis d'Arnaud's been out? It's hit off the glove of Parnell, chasing after it, and the one-hop throw, and he's safe. Almost a tremendous play by Parnell and Duda, but Panik is safe at first.
Well, the one hopper just got a little bit of the leather of Parnell. He one hopped it over there, but Duda wasn't able to hold on.
Be a hit, I'm sure, for Panik. Just the third giant hit of the day. Anyway, you know how long d'Arnaud's been out with the elbow injury. He was the last Met, other than Curtis Granderson, to homer before Campbell hit that home run a few moments ago. That was 16 games ago on June 20th against the Braves. Granderson had hit 4 home runs since. Nobody else had hit a home run since d'Arnaud until Campbell. There's a strike to Matt Duffy, 0-1. Duffy is 0 for 3 today. Grounded out and flied out twice. A magnificent performance by Jacob deGrom this afternoon, and Parnell trying to finish it out. Parnell Hunter Pence on deck. Oh, 2 to Duffy, and it's off the plate. 1-2. Parnell's numbers have been very, very good since coming back from Tommy John surgery. It's just so odd to see him throwing 90, 91 miles an hour with his fastball.
It's like they should turn the radar sign off when he comes in. Different pitcher, different way of getting outs.
1-2 to Duffy. He bounces that one. And advancing to second is Panik. Meaningless run in the 4-0 game.
Meaningless run, but Panik only knows one way to play, and that's to read the ball, know he's going to make second easily. Good hustle by Plawecki.
As long as you do.
Yeah.
So it's a wild pitch charge to Parnell, moving Panik to second. Slowly hit, and Flores in front of it. And there's the first down in the bottom of the ninth. deGrom faced a couple of crises. A leadoff double by Pence in the second. He struck out 3 in a row. And then in the third, an error and a walk put 2 men on for the Giants with Panik at the plate.
Well, this is the biggest mistake, though. It looks like a base hit to left field. Maxwell did not think that. Makes a bad base running mistake. Slide wide of the bag. And then the great catch from Ladarius going away, Willie Mays style, with the basket catch.
I just can't get over Maxwell sliding 3 or 4 feet wide of third base. I mean, it's like he had no idea where third base was.
He's going to make the bloopers highlights, definitely.
Hunter Pence doubled over the first base bag back in the second, and then struck out in his 2 subsequent at bats against deGrom. Panik at third with 1 out. That puts the shutout in jeopardy. Infield back, and Plawecki down in the dirt to stop that breaking ball. 1-1.
See more on bloopers highlights. Bloopers reel it'll make. Mr. Maxwell.
Low lights.
Low lights.
Sometimes the bloopers are the highlights.
They are. They're the funniest. You're right. See Parnell with his 4-run lead just challenges Hunter Pence on this 2-1 count.
Mets are leaving nothing to chance. Jeurys Familia standing around in the Mets bullpen. Toward the middle, and that gets under Tejada for a base hit, and the Giants will cash their first run of the day. Hunter Pence with an RBI single, and it's now 4-1 New York. And boy, does Campbell's home run look big right now.
Yeah, Pence's the third hit, third RBI, fourth hit, third RBI in this 2 games that he's played.
Well, Terry Collins is wasting no time. He's on his way out to the mound, and Jeurys Familia is going to come in for the save chance. So Parnell gives up 2 hits and a run. He'll exit. Familia will go for number 24. That's up 4-1 in the 9th. Called to the bullpen, brought to you by Verizon. Jeurys Familia in with 1 out in the 9th. Mets with a 4-1 lead to face Brandon Crawford, who's 0 for 3 today. And starts him off with a fastball away for ball 1. Jeurys Familia going for the save. Every save this year means another opportunity to win prizes from Delta Airlines. Go to Mets.com/Delta Dugout to sign up now. Familia picked up his 23rd save of the year with a 1-2-3 ninth on Monday night in the opening game of this series. Down to first. Duda with a nice stop. Familia to cover. 2 outs. That ball took a very offbeat hop on Duda, and he stayed with it very nicely for the 2nd out.
I don't know if I can express to you folks how difficult that play is. It was an in-between hop with amazing top spin on the baseball. Fine play by Duda. Not easy. See where that hit right in the tracks where all the runners run, and it took a little tricky hop, and Lucas stayed with it.
Meanwhile, Hunter Pence wasn't messing around just in case he needed to break up a double play. Lost his helmet in the process.
Ruben's there.
So the Giants are down to their final out. Brandon Belt is 1 for 3. Looped a single to left back in the 4th. It was the last hit against DeGrom. Line the other way, and Belt's got a base hit. Pence will go to 3rd and stop there. But most importantly, the Giants now get the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning. And you have to figure if Buster Posey were available, he'd be pinch hitting right now. But he's not. Andrew Susak's going to come up and bat for himself.
It tells you a little bit about the extent of the tight hamstring for Buster, that he's not up in this situation, that it's maybe a little more problematic.
Well,
maybe not.
Just waiting for the right moment, I guess. Rather than batting for Susac, carrying the tying run, they'll come out on deck to bat for Maxwell, hoping to be the winning run.
Well, those are numbers familiar. That the hoping part is the problem.
It's an interesting call by Bochy, putting a lot of faith in Susac's ability to keep this inning going. First and third and 2 out. And Susac almost got hit by the pitch. That would have been one way to do it.
Maybe Buster can't catch. That's why he can't hit for Susac.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Just in case they tie it up. And they don't have another catcher on the roster. Well, I guess they feel he can swing, and so that's why he's on deck. Familia would prefer the inning not get that far. Susac 0 for 3 today with 2 strikeouts against DeGrom.
And he hits one up the middle. Behind the bag is Flores. He sets and throws, and the ball game is over. J. Reese Familia comes in to get the final 2 outs, securing a gem for Jacob DeGrom, who goes 8 scoreless innings and allows just 2 hits. Eric Campbell breaks the Mets' home run drought, and the Mets finish off a 4-2 road trip by taking 2 outs.